Welcome to Stevie's World UK. Today we're in Bristol docks, so today the SS Great Britain is part of my world. I will put a link to the website for the SS Great Britain in the description below so you can check out the details for yourselves.
There she is, the SS Great Britain herself.
Brunel's SS Great Britain is one of the most important historical ships in the world. When she was launched in 1843, she was called the greatest experiment since the creation. By combining size, power and innovative technology, Brunel created a ship that changed history. His vision for the SS Great Britain made her the great-great-grandmother for all modern ships.
So apparently there's two museums that we can look at. There's a dry dock and we can also go on the boat itself. Some extremely large barrels there. Wonder if they contained wine or rum or just plain good old-fashioned water. So first off, we're going to take a look at the dry dock itself and see the hull of the ship. So as you head in, cleverly, the boat is just on top of a little bit of water.
By 1998, an extensive survey discovered that the hull was continuing to corrode in the humid atmosphere of the dock. Estimates gave her 25 years before she corroded away.
It is extremely hot in here. All these warm air vents are protecting the ship itself.
Following the survey, extensive conservation work began. It culminated in the installation of a glass plate across the dry dock at the level of a waterline. 2 dehumidifiers were installed, keeping the space beneath at 20% relative humidity, sufficiently dry to preserve the surviving material.
Apparently one of the main threats to the ship itself is the rust. I can see why. The way they've put this ship just underneath the water is a magnificent idea. Look at the size of that propeller.
The ship was designed by Isambard Kingdom Brunel for the Great Western Steamship Company's transatlantic service between Bristol and New York City. While other ships had been built of iron or equipped with a screw propeller, Great Britain was the first to combine these features in a large ocean-going ship. She was the first iron steamer to cross the Atlantic Ocean, which she did in 1845 in the time of 14 days.
This dry dock was built in 1839, so the floors may be slippery and uneven. So this is one of the original SS Great Britain anchors, dating back to 1852.
So it failed terribly. He never actually went to India or Australia. It did 8 voyages to New York, went financially bankrupt, and then was sold on to...
This gives you an idea of a chain that could have been used to tie the ship down. There were no lorries in those days, so horse and cart would have been provided.
It is worth noting that the dry dock, Dockyard Museum, the Brunel Institute and the ship are fully accessible for wheelchair users.
Don't think I fancy untangling these knots. Now heading off to the Dockyard Museum.
In this museum we travel back in time through the ship's incredible history, from a rescue in 1970 right through to a grand launch. So this is a photo of the condition of the ship as it travelled from Argentina back to Great Britain.
Fancy a little navigating, and this is the place to be.
In 1970, Great Britain had been underwater and abandoned for 33 years. Sir Jack Arnold Awood, OBE, paid for the vessel to be raised and repaired enough to be towed north through the Atlantic back to the United Kingdom and returned to the Bristol dry dock where she had been built 127 years earlier.
Now we're off onto the ship itself.
The ship is 322 feet, 98 metres in length, and has a 3,400 ton displacement. As well as the cylinder engines, she was also provided with secondary masts for sail power.
It's a fascinating array of coloured houses on the cliff overlooking the docks.
The 4 decks provided accommodation for a crew of 120 plus 360 passengers who were provided with cabins and dining and promenade saloons.
uniform, soldier's cards, and the odd bit of line which is going to see they have
So we're down below deck now in the SS Great Britain. Some tiny little sleeping quarters.
From first class to steerage, in the lower decks you can experience the sights and sounds and even the smells of a Victorian ocean liner.
It's like the food storage area for the ship's journey, complete with meat carcass, salted pork, and everyone's favourite mock turtle soup. So this looks like the galley, the kitchen to us. Someone hasn't done the dishes.
Sounds good. Stupid animal. Lazy. Way, all the way, all the job.
This looks like the captain's quarters. The engine of the ship. Things don't look too good in the ship's doctor room. So we find the dining room. It is absolutely huge.
Less than 70 days. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, this turbulence is too much for me.
I want to... I recommend that you take to your cabins, ladies. Dawn will find us in clearing and all the desired.
Off to the second and final museum, being Brunel.
You can see in this room how he loves.
Over 60 miles in 1 hour.
So this museum is dedicated to the engineer Brunel himself.
Inside this museum you can step inside Brunel's mind, discover the incredible story of Britain's greatest engineer through interactive displays, games and personal possessions, including the biggest model of a head I have ever seen.
I shall take my leave.
So that's going to do it for today. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, be safe, be good, be kind, and be careful.
It takes 24 hours for the world to turn once, but only 2 seconds to like or subscribe to see future content from Stevie's World UK.